Now I'm joined from Barcelona by Nuno Pinto, who is the author of The Portuguese Fighters of the Islamic State. Welcome to the show, sir. Let me begin by asking you about the Moroccan community. Moroccan community condemns the attacks, but it is from that very community that we have the current suspects. Would you be surprised if the final perpetrator, if convicted, come from that community?
Good evening, Wang. It's a pleasure to be here. No, I won't be surprised, because if we look at the stats, most of the terrorists that have been arrested in Spain are from Moroccan origin. So that won't be a surprise exactly, because we have in Spain, we are starting to have a problem like we have in other countries like France and Belgium, because the problem is mainly the second generation immigrants, when they feel they don't feel that they belong to a country where they live. They don't feel that they belong to Spain, but they also don't feel that they belong to Morocco. And so jihadists appeal to them, saying that they really belong to the Muslim community. And that's not a surprise also that the probable terrorists are so young, because jihadist propaganda appeals mostly to young people like them. They are fragile and they feel compelled by the language of their visuals and their videos. Because if we remember what happened back in 2001, when we saw those speeches of Osama bin Laden somewhere hiding in Afghanistan, they weren't minimally appealing. And somehow ISIS decided to change that philosophy. And their propaganda pieces, they are very appealing to young men. They use languages used in video games, in MTV videos, so they feel somehow connected with that kind of language.
Nuno, you're bringing up a very important question, that is the integration of second-generation Muslim community into Western European societies. We know that in France, which was pretty much flooded by terrorist attacks in the past couple of years, we saw the unemployment rate of the second-generation Muslim youth was sometimes around 30–40%. How do you think those Muslim communities, the Moroccan communities in particular, can better integrate into the Spanish society?
Well, in Spain, I think that the latest statistics says that the unemployment rate is not that different from the general population. But these generations, they don't feel they're connected with their families, with their equals. If I went to the Ripple Mosque today, and the president of the Muslim community, he pointed out one detail. They have on the wall of the mosque, they have the contributions of every member of the community, all the contributions that every member made to the community. And he pointed out to the names of the suspects. And those squares were empty, meaning that they haven't made any kind of contribution to the mosque. And the mosque lives from the contributions of their faithful people. So they have to find a way to appeal to them and to bring them and make them feel like they belong somewhere. Because we have to look at the numbers also. There are a lot of people involving in these kind of actions, but they're also a minority, which means that the large majority of the Moroccan population is integrated. Mm-hmm. And they have works and they study and they don't have any problems with the law.
Right. Finally, very quickly, Nuno, what do you think of the Spanish authorities' response to this attack? Because the Spanish authorities said it was part of a sophisticated plot that could have wreaked more havoc. But as our correspondent just said, the government perhaps should have apprehended the suspects a long time ago.
Yes, he has a point, because I mean, you don't put that amount of gas canisters in a house without giving some kinds of clues behind. But the response of the Spanish police has been very, very quick. In the last couple of days, they have found out a lot of evidence. They continue to investigate what happened in that house in Alcanar. Their investigation ADN proof, trying to establish any connections, and everything seems to indicate that this was a plot prepared for a long period of time. And the latest evidence that your correspondent also mentioned about the imam of Ripoll being in contact in prison with one of the members of the cell that took the terrorist attack in Madrid in 2004 might be important. And that also, causes to the attention to the fact that the authorities weren't able to communicate to the Muslim community that their imam had been arrested before. They have a point when they question the Spanish authorities on that.
Nuno Pinto, author of The Portuguese Fighters of the Islamic State. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend.
Thank you, Wang.